Hello. Welcome to the stream, everybody. So, I will likely not do as much talking today. Last week, if you were present, I came down with COVID-19. Last week was miserable. This week is likely to be not as fun as normal. So yeah, I will likely not be speaking a whole lot, but I will definitely answer any questions and look forward to hearing from you fine folks. So I'll definitely try to interact with anything that comes up. So yeah, let's finish this guy out. The way that we left him off, I haven't been able to work on him at all this week, for reasons of being confined to bed. I've got the underside of his belly to finish attaching to his arms, which that'll be fun. And then we've also got to wrap up the tail. So let's get that started. There we go. My tablet's been a bit finicky, and one of the things I have to do to be able to fix it is like unplug it and plug it back in. And that usually fixes it just fine. No, it's funny. I had to go through a lot to make sure that this arm, that each of these legs fit in with the body. This leg right here is a lot lower. Well, it's half the resolution of, this foot's half the resolution of these feet. I kind of want to change that so that these are the same. Let's go ahead and grab these. The thing that I feel like I worry about the most in doing this, though, here I'm gonna duplicate out the body so that way I've got a version with and a version with the up-resed. How did you flatten the bottom of the feet? So there's a nice easy way to be able to do stuff like that. If you use the transpose line, so you just go to your gizmo and hit Y, and then you just click and drag and hold shift downward, you can use this to be able to clip to make something like perfectly flat, perfectly level. You see everything's now nice and flat. The thing that you want to look out for, though, is that if you say for instance I want it to be flat up to here, it's going to flatten everything. It's not going to get rid of anything. So literally everything is being clipped up to that level. Hello, mini chicks. Okay, so yeah, that's a great tool. I love using that, and I use it all the time. So I did use that to be able to make the legs and make the feet nice and level. And then I modeled in the all the topology and make sure that everything kind of it kind of fits that creasing in the hands. Yeah, I didn't even check the titles. See if I can beat my cough today at least a little bit. I doubt it, but we'll see. Okay, let's try this out. I am going to say, in fact, let's do this. We're going to Control D, so that way we've got the same topology on each of these feet. Okay. I'm going to come over here with my select lasso, Control Shift S to be able to grow my selection, modify topology, delete hidden. Okay, now it's just a matter of getting everything grown together. Yeah, so if you want to be able to find me on any social media, you can find me using the SMAARTIST. So, just for sharing shake. So there's ArtStation. It looks like Twitch is not getting stuff. I got a big X on Twitch. Are there issues on Twitch right now? There are usually never issues on Twitch. Twitch is usually the one that's like non-issued. Oh, that one, they got an Instagram link. So yeah, there's the Instagram link too if you're interested in that. I'm so much more active on Instagram, and this creature right here is for ArtStation Challenge. Hola Noe. COVID's terrible, guys. Don't get it. Don't get it. I don't recommend it to anyone. Okay, so the one thing that I feel like I'm seeing out of this that I don't really like at all is the fact that it's so dense now, topology wise. And just trying to make this all make sense, getting the flow to kind of come in here and to maintain this level of density going out. That's just a lot. That's just a lot. So I mean, I feel kind of because like the thing is that I definitely just want to have kind of this uniformity of level of density from this foot to this foot to this foot, topology wise, right? Can confirm COVID sucks. Got it while I was supposed to be working on a hard surface boot camp model and could barely focus. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Everything I did this week was insanely minimal. Yeah, so now I've got this foot and this foot are the same. Okay, the hard thing is just that everything going up into this arm is so dense now. And maybe I can fix this some. Here, let's do this. Because I can go ahead and I can say, let's get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. Because that gets rid of like half of that density. I can get rid of this and this. I can get rid of that, that, that. But where it goes down into the foot, that's going to be a little bit trickier. So I'm gonna hold off on that. That's gonna stay. It's goosey. And maybe, because I mean I've got these other loops, this 1, 2 right here. That if I get rid of, let me see, if I would have to collapse this down. So let's try this. We'll say collapse polyloop. Does learning detailed anatomy, is it required to create stylized creatures? Right now, what I'm making right now is kind of a mix up of like definitely very heavily stylized. Where it's but it's all based on real anatomy. So the thing is that you technically don't have to base things on real anatomy because there are different creatures out there that have a lot less of a grounding in reality. But the thing is that if you go through and you do that extra thought and the extra research and things like that, it's going to help to ground things and make them feel relatable, that sort of thing, and that's important. That's important. Oops. Let's go ahead and grab that and mask that so that it's all masked out, and then we will deformation polish by groups just to kind of even those points out some. We'll have to refine kind of the shapes that these groups are making, but it looks like it's pretty decent so far. Okay, so that'll be a lot fewer points to have to deal with, so that's nice. So the different color is grouped in advance. Yeah, so the different colors are called polygroups, and these polygroups allow me to make different selections and to, let me lower that down, it doesn't need to be so high. Yeah, make different selections to be able to do all sorts of things. It's crazy. I really love polygroups. For anybody who's been around a while, they know that I love polygroups. It is such a useful part of the ZBrush tool set that I definitely couldn't live without. It's so helpful. It helps me to maybe be able to make quick selections. It helps me to be able to keep track of landmarks, to be able to make sure that different parts of anatomy are making certain shapes, things like that. And then if I'm using, if I'm creating a base mesh, and then I use that base mesh to be able to make another character or another creature or whatever else is that I'm making, having those polygroups allows me to keep certain landmarks consistent. So, for instance, around the face, and this might not be quite as relevant here. I do have polygroups up here, but not as relevant. But you can still see I have things divided out. It'll help to kind of determine that, like, okay, this light yellow green right here, that's the underneath of the eyebrow. And so if I were to go through and make another version of this character with different proportions, I can still use this polygroup to define that shape. Same thing with these different polygroups along the face, the yellow to the green to the red. That's going to create these plane changes, and it's important for me to be able to maintain that. In fact, while we're here, maybe we'll go ahead and we will take this. Hold Control and blup. Now I got the makings of a tongue. The beginnings of a tongue, anyway. I do want him to have kind of like a chunky tongue, but you know, we'll deal with finishing that out. And just kind of settle that down and in right in here somewhere, and then Control, bring this out some. We'll soften that, bring these points down, bring that down, bring this down. There we go. Now we got like the makings, the startings of a tongue. How to lower your mesh count without manual topology. So the thing is that manual topology helps you control things. If you wanted to have lower mesh count without the manual topology, you can use ZBrush, you can use Decimation Master, you can use Dynamesh Master, but those things are not going to give you clean results. They're not going to give you results that are ready for production. So that's why I go through and do everything very manually, very very controlled, very precise. Let's see, I actually kind of want to make this so that it's a bit thicker here. Like I said, there's the thick point, and then it just kind of like I might have to go through and give him a forked tongue. That could be fun. So, being a creature artist, you're definitely going to want to look and focus on practicing from, you know, real life animals and things like that. Studying animal anatomy. Human anatomy is definitely super helpful because there's a lot of crossover. You know, irrespective of what creature you're looking at, you're going to have similar muscle groups. Not always the same, but similar, right? So if you look at like a frog, for instance, a frog's going to have pectoral muscles and deltoids and biceps, triceps, and you know, other similar muscles that we have as humans. There are some animals though that are different in their builds, and I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But I know that things like, well, when you think about horses and the way that horses are built, horses have similar muscle groups, but their bone structures are very different, and things aren't exactly where you would expect them to be. So for instance, um, we might expect the little break above their hoof to be like an ankle, but it's more like the end of a phalange. It's like they're literally standing up on these like two really long fingers. It's really really odd if you look at the bone structure of a horse, um, but it's really cool too. So it's just a matter of kind of coming to kind of understand similarities, understand differences, and be able to, yeah, just be able to understand what's the same and what's different. Yeah, let's do this. Okay. Just want to make sure that these are more evened out. The spacing was kind of not fun. Okay, so that's looking better. This is looking better. It's just still really dense, and it's really kind of a hard thing for me to want to deal with. Um, so I think what we're going to do, I'm going to mask out a section here, polish by groups, just to get a little bit more evenness in the topology here. That should hopefully be a little bit better for us. Let's see, hold on. Sometimes my sculpt is very good, sometimes it's bad in the beginning. Yeah, that's natural. I mean, when you're learning, when you're practicing, when you're trying something different and new, it's not going to be that great necessarily, It's just kind of how it goes. Like for me, I don't do creatures very often, but when the ArtStation challenge popped up for dragons, I was like, yeah, let's do this. I want to do me some dragons. So we are doing some dragons. In fact, I'm going to come over here. Let's say multiple, keep group, let's say flat. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to kind of try to even this out just a little bit. Hold on. So right now what I'm doing is, yeah, I'm retopologizing. I don't have a high poly mesh at all yet. which is something that people have been asking a lot. I don't have a high poly yet. All I did is block things in. The idea will be to go ahead and finish this out, and then go ahead and polish by groups. Oh shoot, I neglected to include go ahead and add that in. Polish by groups. Okay, polish that out some. Smooth this out some. I'll have to go through and kind of redefine my edges the way that I want to. Pardon me. The way that I want to later. Just kind of natural part of the process here. No, this is not a replay. What I'm doing is I'm just trying to make sure that I can finish things out and make it so that, you know, it's not unfinished anymore. Because, you know, personally, I like finishing my projects. And since we've had this going on for a couple of weeks, I want to finish it out. So yeah, that's the idea. That's the plan. Finished project. Oh shoot. I hate it when I do that. Collapse, poly loop. Control W, bring it back. Just kind of smooth that out so that it's got all those points in a row. You got me. Using any reference or concept art? Yeah, so I mean, I did my own concept for this. This is for the ArtStation challenge. Let's open up this one, see what it got. So this is my original sketch. I do have I think here's the full kind of sketch of what I designed. Hold on. Yeah, so yeah, the Dragon Challenge on ArtStation. Yep. So yeah, this is my little guy right here. It's been a lot of fun so far. It's definitely got a long way to go though. Yeah, I mean, the idea is just to go through and finish them out today. At least the topology side of it. I don't know that I really have energy to do to do the whole rest of everything. Hey, thanks, Alti. Yeah, I'm having fun. The concept is fun. It was yeah, I just, as soon as I saw the challenge, I was like, oh, I have this idea in my head of something that just feels like it's going to work, and I couldn't help it. I had to jump in, had to do it. Hopefully I can finish it, because this is something that's COVID's been killing me. It's been so miserable. It's been so miserable. Thankfully, everybody at work is so, like, understanding, and have been like, no, you need to rest, you need to get better, you need to, this, that, and the other. Like, they care so much. So that's been nice. Let's see, let's kind of fix that a little bit. This should technically be kind of nooked up and in a little bit more, but I'm gonna have to kind of play with this some. I don't know what to say. Pull this in. I need to go blow my nose. Alright, that's a little bit better. Shane. I'm not Shane. I'm Steven. Yeah, it's, the titles didn't get changed, and I didn't change them, so it's gonna be kind of confusing, I'm sure, for somebody, in the very least. Let's see if we can fix this. Yeah, we fixed it. Alright. My little webcam cover broke off when I tried to get up, and I was just like, yeah, forget it. I'm not gonna fight it. Alright, let's see. Let's do this. Let's come over here. I'm going to look and see what I need to do to be able to connect it to the rest of the body. Here, let's turn off spotlight. What do we have over here? Okay, I'm trying to observe the forms and everything, try to figure out what's going on around here. I think I'm going to kind of change this to flow a little bit further toward the back. Yeah, I don't know that I'll finish. We'll have to see. I thought about doing wings. In fact, let me show you. I've got some wings in here that I kind of pulled in to be able to check and see. Wings folded. So you can see this is what he looks like with the wings, which, I think looks cool. But, like, building those in is going to be such a pain in the neck. And then, building those in and then posing him with them is going to be a bigger pain in the neck. So I feel more inclined to, like, not have wings at all. Wings aren't necessary for a dragon, so it's, I don't know. Doing high poly then retopology is easy and fast for the method you are doing. It just depends on the person. I'm building this out because I have a design that I wanted to follow. But there are a lot of people who go through and do like, a high res sculpting, and then they do the retopology on top of that, and then they do, so it kind of just depends on whatever. I do that sometimes too, but it's, for this particular project, this is the route that I'm going. Hey, Pakistan. Hope you guys are doing good. All the flooding and everything over there, that's a rough time. On top of everything else that's happening, right? Thank you, entertainment jerk. It's kind of weird referring to you like that, but hopefully that's what you want. Insert a couple of loops in here, just to make sure that it can bridge over to the arm nicely. Nerds. Bridge that. I'm going to change this to do nothing so that I don't have to worry about my face actions at all. I think I might have too many edges that I've added in here. Let's see. Yeah, I think this will probably work a little bit better. Let's go ahead and let's say bridge. No symmetry, my eye. Bridge those edges together. Do it. Okay, right here, one of the things I'm going to want to do, I'm going to say insert single edge loop. Let's say extrude. Bring this out to here. And then we'll say bridge here. Bridge down. And this will continue up, and this will continue down, and so this way we'll get like a 5-pointed star here. Let's go ahead and we'll say insert single edge loop here. One thing that I'm going to want to have, okay, this is going over and around. I want this edge loop right here. So many 5 points. So many 5 points. It's just going to stop our flow. So you see, this is what we have going so far. I don't want this to continue down. I want this to go up and over and continue this loop right here. Yes, I know that the titles are wrong. I'm not going to be able to fix that right now. I didn't check before getting on, and I'm not really able to change it now, I don't think. I mean, I can try. I don't know that it would work to Oh, shoot. I should probably put a little... Okay. Okay, I've changed the title, so hopefully it works for you guys. If not, oh well. Just to be able to check it and see if it worked. Yeah, it worked. So you might have to refresh, but it's working now. It's working now. Yeah, I wish that there was like an automated way for that to be able to work, but it's all got to be done manually. Ooh, this cough is going to get the best of me. Yeah, so now that we're out of that, I do have a ZBrush course, and it's up to date. It's just a little bit. It's just a couple of years old. It's not very old. But if you're interested in checking it out, let me go ahead and grab a link that I can share with you guys. If you're interested in checking it out, that's the link for flipped normals. Yeah, feel free to check that out. It's also available on ArtStation. Yeah, so anyway, this is the... Let me get into the ArtStation's view profile, store. So like right over here, this is the course. Oh, you're that guy. Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm glad that I'm that guy. So yeah, this is the course. It feels. Let me get to the flipped normals because it's a little bit. Oh look, it's on the staff picks for today, so that's cool. A little bit easier to get to. So yeah, this is the course. It goes through everything from creating this this mermaid from very beginning, using spheres, and then using it to match the concept. I do everything with creating some clothing just to be able to show some of the techniques I use. 3D prints, making it so that you have a maquette that you can 3D print. In fact, my friend Leonard, he's on the stream every once in a while to be able to say hello. He helped me print out the hair for the mermaid that'll be showing at Lightbox. Let me pull this up so that I can minimize that. Webcam view, there we go. So yeah, he helped me print this out so that it's full size for my statue that I'll be showcasing. So here's her head. It's like, it just makes me nervous, like trying to handle the hair because I know how fragile it is. So yeah, there's it's like, that's how you know you did it right. When you can go through, you can print something off on your own machine, like the head. I printed that off here, and then you can send the file off to a buddy to print off on their own machine. And he's somebody that I collaborated with at Imagineering. He's an Imagineer like me. So great, and it was such a pleasure to be able to get this and to have this work out that nicely, you know. So nice. It made me nervous sending it out, but everything worked out beautifully. It was great. And then once I finish prepping that, it'll all be available and ready to show at Lightbox next month. So that's really exciting. I got to get some stuff today to be able to finish that out. Let's go back to ZBrush Live. There we go. So yeah, anyway, there's what it looks like, all split out. You know, we go through the full topology, the whole character, all retopologized. We do facial expressions. So yeah, lots of stuff to kind of cover in this. So yeah, lots of fun. Lots of fun. What printer was used for the hair? That, I'm pretty sure he used the Elegoo Mars, which is funny to think about because, well, he had to split it out into several little pieces and then piece them together. Leonard was at Imagineering for, I want to say something like 30 years, maybe more. He was there for a long time, and I think I'm missing questions up here. For high detail, you might want to get resin. Yeah, it's all resin. Yeah, the higher resolution, the higher detailed sculpts prints that you see, typically those will be resin. There are a couple of different types of resin printers. A couple. I'll say a couple of different types. There's SLS and SLA. I can't think of any other types. The difference, you know, it's all going to be using UV exposure to be able to cure resin one layer at a time. The difference is that one's going to be going through and projecting a flat image, a UV projection, one layer at a time, and it's going to do the whole layer at once. And the other one's going to be using a single point laser, which is the SLS, the single point laser sintering. So that's yeah, that's going to go through and it's going to, you know, essentially trace a path to expose the entire layer, you know, one point at a time, whereas the other one's going to be projecting an entire layer at the whole at a time, which is really cool. The projecting has been getting a lot better over recent years because they used to have really low resolution projectors. But now they've gotten it to a point where they have 4K projectors. They have 6K projectors. They have 8K projectors, and so the resolution, the look of each layer is going to be smoother, it's going to be nicer. The thing that would happen before is that because of the 1080p resolution projectors, you would see kind of like a stair stepping in the silhouette of the layer itself because of the pixels. But you know, with a smaller pixel, you get higher resolution, you get, you know, a nicer projection, you get a nicer sculpt, a nicer print. So yeah, like really, the stair stepping isn't something to really worry about anymore. So that's something that I kind of want to get into at some point. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the Elegoo Mars, but it was all split out into different pieces, and then he assembled it. I wanted to know which. So for myself, the printer that I have is the Form 2 from Form Labs. Oh, you have an Ender 5, okay. I'm not familiar with that one. I'm not super familiar with different models. But I know that when it's funny because like when all the Elegoo printers were coming out, all my friends at Imagineering went through and they kind of bought up the machines. They were like yay, printers. And yeah, everybody was getting a printer, and it was so funny. I've had a Form 2 for, gosh, like five or 6 years now. So that's been kind of my go-to printer. There are other solutions. There are other types of printers, but yeah, that's the one that I've been using. Say bridge these two together. Hello. I wonder how many people didn't tune in today because they're like, oh, well, it's I don't recognize the name, so yeah. You know, let's see. It's always kind of one of the interesting things. You know what? Let's see. This is. I've got an idea here. I want to add an extra loop going up over the top. So here's what I'm going to do. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, insert right there. We'll bridge this back together. We'll insert another loop here. We'll bridge these together. This way. We have a little bit better of a gap between this flow and that flow. Bridge that together. And we'll see kind of how this, how all of this, we can get this to fit together. Right down here, we're going to want to insert a couple. insert a couple here. Move that down, move that down. Kind of move this over a little bit too. One of the things that's really hard right now is that this this section is so it's just not filled in enough. There's not enough resolution through here to be able to fill out this area. There are things that are happening that I need to have happening. Thank you. I'm glad that you enjoyed that. If you guys aren't familiar with my my hard surface stuff, let me see. Right, maybe it's easier to get there from here. There we go. I have it in English and in Spanish. My Spanish is a little bit different. There are a few words I never learned. A lot of these words in Spanish, and so yeah, bear with me. But yeah, I do have it. I do have it in full English. I do have it in full Spanish. Can't afford the Form 2 because it's not produced anymore. They sell the Form 3, but it's not affordable. Bought an Anycubic Ultra DLP printer. It's awesome. Yeah, the Anycubic is really cool. That's one of those that has really decent resolutions, like 4K and above, and so that's something that I recommend kind of digging into. It's not super expensive. It's just a few $100s. And it doesn't necessarily require a specific resin. You can go through and you can use whatever resin you want to use. So yeah, it's just kind of a matter of what it is that you want, whatever it is that you want. You know what? I'm going to add in one more. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to bridge these together. We'll add in one more loop here. Hopefully this will work. Because the other thing that we got to go through and check on now is that it'll work with the other leg. Because this is you know, the whole goal is to make sure that everything fits together, right? So we'll have to play with that next. Okay, kind of smooth that out some, even out those points. Even out these points. Try to reshape this this arc in here with the opening, and we'll smooth it out too once we get everything bridged together. But you know, hopefully this will work nicely. Okay, let's try this out. See if we can get this to. Let's smooth that some first. So retopology I like to do inside of ZBrush, but there's a lot that I like UVs. I love doing my UVs inside of Maya because ZBrush doesn't really have a clean UV tool. If you're doing something quick to be able to just kind of pass it, then you can use things like your UV master right down here. You have these different tools in here, and you can do things by polygroups, things like that. So you can determine your polygroups and then run it through UV master and have it come out, you know, fairly all right. But oh, that's cool, Christoph. I like that. Um, but yeah, it's always kind of tricky. So it's like a lot of these things, a lot of these polygroups, the face I would want to kind of keep together. So I would want to have that as its own polygroup. The inside of the mouth would have its own polygroup, so that it would be split out. Um, there's a lot that kind of goes into what gets a polygroup and what doesn't. Um, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's take this and see about. Let's merge it. I hate Blender. Blender's miserable. I get that question every week, like without fail. um, I hate the UI. I hate the usage. I hate everything about it except for the rendering. The rendering is amazing. I love Eevee. I love cycles. Um, those, in my mind, are Blender's saving grace. Um, they do have some cool modeling tools. I have seen some amazing work come out of it. It's just that it's confusing. Um, it's not industry standard, so it's not something that I've ever used. Um, like how new? Uh, because last time I used it was like 3 months ago. So if it's newer than 3 months, then I'll check it out. But if not, then it's still the same old Blender. It is the first 3D package that I used. Um, it's definitely not my preference. I've been using Maya for 16 years, and I love it. It's clean, it's intuitive, everything's kind of laid out in a nice, easy way, and the navigation isn't different from every other software package. Um, and that's kind of one of the things that's been a little bit frustrating to me trying to get back into Blender, just to play around with it a few months ago, was that the navigation was so hard to get hold of. um, so yes, I have given it fair chance, and I don't like it. Okay, so but yeah, it's funny how many people like to ask about Blender on a ZBrush stream. Um, it's just kind of funny. Anyway, so I'm gonna go through and kind of count these things out and see what it is that I've got. I do want to make sure. Oh, no, don't delete, don't delete. Okay, let's see, do nothing. Nah, definitely not true about being able to use one, you can use the other. Blender has a very different navigation. ZBrush has a very different navigation, but it's much more intuitive. And I'm leaving that conversation there. I'm done with it. I'm done with Blender. So anyway, um, I am going to go through and work on my dragon. I'm gonna kind of lower this just a smidge. And just kind of start bridging things together so we can keep track of what we've cleaned up and what we haven't. Okay, let me see. Insert single edge loop. Let's maybe put this here. Merge that across, something like that. This section right here is going to be really kind of tricky to work out, but you know, we'll have to figure it out. Let's see if we can get some of this to... You know what? I think what we're going to do, let's do this. We're going to say bridge, 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 mute. Shoot. So the reason I'm not doing bridge hole is because I need to make sure that things line up 1-to-1. If I use bridge hole and there's a mismatch of number of edges, it's going to create triangles, and I don't want triangles. So I'm being very methodical. I'm being very specific. I realize it's a lot slower, but it's also more professional. And that's the whole focus for me, is making something that's production ready. And it's not necessarily all about getting the quick finish. Oh shoot. Because yeah, I mean, I totally get it. It's not fun watching something this slow. It's not fun doing something this slow. Oh, I see. It gave me an extra face in there. Oh, stop it. Do nothing. Right here is where we're going to want to start to match up the chest. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start to insert here. Let's get rid of that one. That one's fine. That one there, this one here. That one's good. Insert one here. Let's kind of move this one just over a little bit. Ooh, no. Okay. And right now I can tell that I'm getting too many edges coming through here. I can't take out anything going into the foot. Let's go ahead and smooth this out a little bit just to kind of ease out the edge flow. Just cozy it on out. And then a lot of what's happening through here, this is like, oh, this is so hard. Let's go back to bridge. We'll finish, oh shoot. Finish out this under section here. Speaking of dragons, anybody watching House of the Dragon? Are you feeling like it's kind of a redemption level series for you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to insert another loop in here. For season 8 of Game of Thrones. Shoot. It's so hard to see in that area like what's going on because it's all so obscured by all the other pieces that are going on in here. Okay, let me see. Oops. Dang it, I hate it when I do that. There we go. Okay, so now this is where things are messy because I've got to figure out a way to rework this hold on. So over here on the side, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Over here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means I'm missing 4 edges here, or I have a surplus of 4 here. Where do these edges flow to? They go down into the foot. Interesting. Okay, so that's a mess. Let me see, I'm trying to figure out what it was that I was seeing here a second ago. Let's change material so I can see the topology a little bit better on these undersides. Okay, so that's what's creating that. Shoot. And I mean, technically I could go ahead and run in a few extra loops through here, but then that makes that shoulder really dense. I don't want to make that shoulder really dense. But it might be all right. Let's try it and see kind of where it is we get to. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's try it out and see. Oh, thank you, Israeli. Yeah, I try to I try to be good with questions. um, for those of you who are new to my stream, I'm Steven Anderson. I am a 3D character artist at Marvel Animation Studios. Do superheroes for a living. Yeah, lots of fun stuff. I also teach at Nomen, which actually I'm wearing a Nomen t-shirt today. they just hit 25 years of operation, and that's pretty exciting. So that's been something that, they sent me a gift box the other day, and it was pretty cool. Shoot, I keep hitting the wrong edge somehow. Stop hitting the wrong edge. There we go. There we go. I think I hit the wrong edge that time too. Shoot. Zutalo. Zut, zut, zut. Oh, what's the other one that I learned the other day? Puree. Sounds sus. Yeah, in fact, I've got my badges right here. Here's my one for the Avengers campus, and here's one for just Disney. So it's really fun. Okay, time to work this out here a little bit. It'll need a lot of finesse to make sure that that's getting the right forms, but it's starting to have the right flow, which is the goal. Haha. Let's kind of pull that in a little bit. Go ahead and define that muscle group just a little bit. This is another reason why I love polygroups, because it allows me to control landmarks really easy. Okay, let's kind of pull this out so that it forms more of a rigid bone structure here. Let's see if we can figure out getting the rest of this filled in. need to get a lot more edges along the bottom of the stomach here. Let's just kind of isolate this so that we're just looking, oh, we're going to need that other group over here as well. Okay. Let's go ahead and pull this up so that this makes more of a steady flow going into the, going from one section into the next. There are a good deal many more points from here that need to probably flow into here. The question will be, yes, retopology is absolutely necessary. And it depends on the project. It depends on what it is that you're doing. For instance, I have all these little figures and things that I've done over the years. These were never done with topology. This was all done with like Dynamesh and decimation and things like that. But they were not intended to be production ready models. This is. So that's the goal, is getting something that's production ready and something that can be taken into different software for texturing, something that can be something that can just be used, there is a lot that needs to happen for, that's so terrible. There's a lot that needs to happen for a model to be ready for production. It can't just be Z-remeshed. It can't just be decimated. You have to go through a process to make sure that topology is flowing in a nice way, so that it's ready for, let me show you, so that it's ready for animation. So for instance, in fact, I'm not even entirely 100% sure that this would even work for what I want. I might have to go through and like make this so that this is just like more tube. Let me kind of draw over this. So I might have to go through and do something where it's more like this. Same thing with this, getting something more tubed instead of having this flow for the muscle definition. I'm going to keep it for now because I kind of want to see how it goes. But yeah, it's one of those things that, good golly, it is taking a while to run things right now. Hey Leo, how you doing? But yeah, retopology is definitely necessary. This is for a production challenge. And so topology is part of that challenge. It's funny, I've been asked just that same question just like 5 times so far in this same stream, just in these last couple hours. Maybe I should have like a scrolling list of commonly asked questions. So we've got that going in. That's going to be fine. Let's that. FAQ floaters, yep. Have them just kind of scrolling along the bottom, and it's like, do you really need to be doing topology all the time? It's like, yeah, I do. Yeah, a lot of my friends on the stream team will kind of tease me about it too, because it's like I love having clean topology. It's a big part of my career. It's a big part of yeah, it's just a big part of everything. Okay, I'm trying to see. Yeah, I can live with that. Sweet, I can live with that. I can live with that. Okay. So a couple of things that I'm wanting to do here. Let's go ahead and let's say stitch. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Point action. Okay, stitch to midpoint. So we can get those together. You need loops if you want to animate it because it'll deform horribly. Yeah. Mine seems sloppy, but looks in print. Yeah. The topology the topology isn't as necessary if you're going through and printing something, because like we were saying with like, you know, like a little toy, the topology will help to reinforce shape, so you can print clean topology really nicely and easily, but it's not absolutely necessary. But for digital production, for things like movies or video games or anything where you actually need to be able to where you need to be able to move things around, it's absolutely necessary. It's critical to have clean topology, or else the animation will not work out. You know, it helps every side of production. So yeah, hopefully that answers that question. I do get that one a lot. So there's obviously a kind of a misunderstanding as to what topology is for, and maybe an expectation for what people are expecting to see on a ZBrush stream, where it's all collectibles all the time, where it's all speed sculpts all the time. It's like, no, I'm here to showcase something that's more actually applicable, something that's more, you know, the way we use it at Marvel, you know, the way that we use it at, yeah. Retopology sounds like a lot of work. It's definitely a lot of work, and I mean, I've been doing retopology for years, but so you know, it still takes a lot of rethinking, and you know, even after years and knowing different what's it called, like different techniques or different edge flows or different things like that, you know, already knowing things to look out for, still run into issues where I have things to fix, or I'll run into things that don't work, or you know, different things like that. So it's It's a whole level of crazy. Oh, come here, you. Oops. Go ahead and kind of raise that just a little bit. It's not common for people to, like, any modeler is going to have to worry about their own topology. The only time where, because like, the only time really that I have seen people not have to worry about topology at all is with toys and collectibles. That's the only time. Is any time where it's, for production, where it's for manufacturing, where it's for fabrication, any time where you're producing a physical product and not a digital product. That's where I've seen people not have to worry about topology. I've seen times where you could use and reasonably get away with using like Z-remesher sort of stuff. Like anytime you're dealing with rocks, or if you're dealing with props, or sometimes clothing. It depends on what it is that you're doing, right? But but yeah, that's the idea of it. The topology is insanely helpful. It's insanely necessary. I think one of the things that I wish that I had done is I wish that there had been a way to be able to kind of plan this out a little bit better. I feel like this particular arm is angled at a way that feels awkward to be able to connect with everything else. Just having an extra arm in there is kind of awkward. Let's see what we can kind of continue this on. Bridge edges. Let's get that across. Let's bridge that across. So now up here, what we have is we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And down here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, easy. 10. And let's go through, we'll add this in. This in, delete this, we'll just move this over. Move this over. And then this will kind of become more of like an arc going through. And then everything should fit together. Here, I'm gonna say bridge. that's why. You know what? Here's what we're going to do. We are going to say... Oh, shoot. Yeah, we figure out a way, right? Oh, shoot. Wrong edge. Wrong edge. Shoot. Let's make that nice and small, and hopefully that'll... There we go. Oh, I think I got the wrong edge. Shoot. Dang it. First edge. Second edge. There we go. Feels like there's some sort of issue right here. I don't know what it is. Let's say delete single poly, because I feel like, okay, yeah, there was like an extra face on there or something. Okay, now we can insert single edge loop, and we can bridge the rest of it together. Just going to trust that those are there. We can check now just to see. That last one didn't work. Bridge that to there, sweet. And now, c'est fini. Okay, so now we just got to kind of even out our topology, and then we've got to finish out our tail. And then we're finally done. Well, I mean, there's still things like, you know, got to add resolution to the eyelids, got to add resolution to the tongue. But yeah, we're finally like almost there, guys. Finally getting there. My goodness. Let's go through and kind of even that out some, even that out some. Okay, so I had this really cool ridge going along here that has disappeared since smoothing things out. Let's kind of try to bring it back a little bit. Lots of work. Yeah, that's another yeah, Mike Thompson is one. He's not going to worry or need to worry about topology because he uses his stuff for statues and for illustration. Certain processes like foam carving work better sometimes with edge flow that can be easily assigned for tool paths. That's not something that I'm familiar with, being able to use topology to dictate your tool path. No, NURBs aren't very common anymore. Definitely not adding wings. All the trouble we went through to add the to close out the legs. I'm like, are you kidding me? Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out if there's stuff down here. Yeah, there's stuff down here we need to kind of clean up a little bit more, but not too shabby. One of the things I'm trying to consider, and I think could be helpful, is kind of invert the masses down here. Give myself a little bit different of a form down here, and I think that'll help it to feel a bit more natural. Yeah, I'll dig that. Life, family, no computer, then other arts, NFTs, and I'm back. I'm not sure what that means. But yeah. Yeah, because like when I first started learning 3D, it was NURBS, and that was back in 2006. And then sub Ds had they were coming out, and so that was kind of another. I really liked that and how that was working. I felt like it was easier to create clean, appealing shapes with, which is nice. But yeah, there's definitely like a huge different workflow, because being able to make those isoparms and the shoot, I'm forgetting the terminology. It's been 16 years. I don't really use NURBS as much at all anymore. I'll use it for things like if I'm trying to revolve a curve to be able to make a different volume. I'll use it to be able to extrude a tube, or different unique shapes based off of curves, but definitely not my cup of tea. I've long since gone the way of the polygon. Let's go ahead and let's insert multiple edge loops. Give it its own polygroups so that it's its own thing, Let's say polish by features. No, maybe not by features. Let's say polish by groups. It's not really quite working out the way that I had hoped. kind of use like the smooth polish. Right now there are a ton of edges. Non-uniform relational Bezier spines. Good grief. Okay, here's where I'm going to go ahead and start kind of bridging things down. Oops. Dang it. Okay, so we've got that sort of thing going on. Now on each side we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So let's come in here, we'll say 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Should work. Bridge that. Bridge that. Bridge, bridge, bridge. You can see everything's like leveling out nicely now and switching back the other direction. Okay, so now we've got all these different parts here. I'm going to say Control W just to be able to make sure that I've got different polygroups. Okay, so Control W, or sorry, Control Tap. Okay. One of the things that I want to do is I want to pull this out and I want it to start to kind of taper out. I want it to make this end of the tail here. Let's come in here and we'll insert a whole bunch of, oh, not bridge, shoot. Insert, not there, please, right here. We'll just go through and insert a few single loops going up the tail to a certain point. Make sure that's all one polygroup. I remember when it took 15 minutes. Yeah, it used to be miserable. But the computers that I used to have to use to be able to do 3D when I was learning, they weren't terrible, but they weren't amazing. And part of the reason that it was so hard to do anything in 3D was that I still wasn't perfectly. I mean, I'm mostly self-taught for everything that I know how to do. It's all It's all stuff that I had to teach myself how to do. I was fortunate that I had things like a 3D class at my high school. That's where I started learning 3D. um, but my teacher didn't know 3D. He just kind of really championed trying to make sure that we had resources available to us, which is amazing, which is a huge, huge thing. And it's really altered my life and made things available for me. Um, in fact, I was invited to that class by a friend of mine who's now working at DreamWorks. So, you know, out of all the people that took that class that year, um, in fact, as far as I'm aware, there are only two of us that have gone on to do anything animation industry related. He's at DreamWorks. I'm at Marvel, so it's in fact I used to work with them at DreamWorks, and we used to have breakfast together in the morning and things like that. It was nice. But yeah, it just kind of just really kind of interesting. Um, Definitely not something that I take for granted. That was a huge, huge, very fortunate thing for me to be able to have had. Before that, I wanted to go into marine biology. I wanted to be a scientist. I wanted to be able to study fish. I wanted to be not necessarily fish, coral and coral reproduction, coral conservation. That's kind of where my interests were. And then, yeah, and then the opportunity presented itself to start to learn 3D, and so I did, and it worked out really nicely, and now I'm rocking it in the industry. Boom. There's our tail. Okay, the thing that I need to check. Yeah, I'm actually using a gaming laptop. That's all I have. It's all I can afford. Trying to make a Hydra, multiple heads. It's supposed to have quite a few necks and heads. Is there a way to have multiple curves? Yes, so instead of having... In fact, that's a good question about being able to make that. I'm not sure how you make that, but I do know that there are, like, for instance, there's the curved multi-tube. I think it has something to do with the... It's not the modifiers. Stroke. Curve modifiers. Curve functions. Curve... There's got to be some functionality here where you can go ahead and you can turn that on or off. I can't remember exactly where that is. Strength multiplier, smooth pressure, tilt brush, constant tilt, curve resolution, trails intensity, aperture. Yeah, I can't think off the top of my head where that setting is. But this is one where you can go through and you can drag out multiple things, modify your curves, and still be able to go on and create more. That's not a function that I use ever. So it's not something that I really feel too worried about personally. I think, like, if I were creating a Hydra with multiple heads, I would probably go through and create one head and then just duplicate it around as needed. That's what I did for the feet here, to be able to make sure that I got that I got, that I got the pieces that I needed, and I didn't have to worry about recreating topology. Using an IMM curve brush or a curve brush of some sort, that also works. It's just that it feels like it's a little bit less of a little bit less controlled. I understand kind of like where it is that you're trying to go with it, because I do get that idea of being able to take your take the head and change the positioning based on the curve, being able to lock the base, being able to lock the tip, that sort of thing. I would be more inclined to this beautiful little hummingbird hanging out outside the window. I'd be more inclined personally to go ahead and just duplicate the head around. Yeah, like what ZF were saying, duplicate it around, use the bridge function to connect to the body. How do you get the topology to be clean? Well, you can watch all the streams. This whole process has been streamed on the ZBrush live channel. The last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks. So yeah, it's a crazy process, but it's a process, and it's a necessary one. I'm trying to decide though if I want to go ahead and do a split tongue, like a forked tongue. I should. Or maybe I'll do like a separate version. See, here's the creature before. Let's go ahead and we'll say delete. Now that we've got this, let's hit save, because we're gonna lose it if we don't. Let's go ahead and version up. Now that we've got the, yeah, I've gotten that comment a few times too. The looking like the eels from the Little Mermaid. This way. My daughter's been on a bit of a princess kick lately, and that's one, Little Mermaid, Ariel is one that she loves, like absolutely loves. I did do the concept for this one. Here's my my little head sketch. Yeah, I mean, I think I have some sculpting to do to get it to feel like it's more, to kind of bring it back to where it's, back to being more aligned with it. But it's still there. It's still pretty close. This section of the neck, I feel like I want to emphasize that peak a little bit, but it could be cool to have it so that there's like a peak in the center, not so much on the edge. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to play around with. This so that it kind of fades out a little bit more. folders so that those three-pointed stars don't draw too much attention. Okay, just trying to fix some forms through here. Trying to fill out this chest and this rib cage area. This might be a little bit too much. Let's take that back a little bit, so that it has like a little bit of like a flow, and then there'll be this kind of like this edge break right here. Just kind of create something like that. We'll kind of modify that form, that surface, pull this in a little bit. Studies birds and stuff. I love birds. Specifically for animation, it's so the topology needs to be animation ready. But you know what, we can go ahead and we can delete these other pieces that we don't need. Let's see, let's go ahead and delete these. Delete these. These are the block-ins. The wings, I don't know that I care to have the wings here. Let's delete the old wings. These are the new wings, and then these are the folded wings. Yeah, I still think I'm not going to worry about having them though. Let me see, these are the back scales so that we know what that is. Foot claws, back. Foot claws, mid. Foot claws, front. Oh yeah, and these eye spikes, I need to turn them on so that they're visible. We'll have to kind of align things, make sure that things are working out the way that we want them to. I think that the eyebrows are coming in too far toward the center. So here's what we're going to want to do. I'm going to take this and pull it out. And this should hopefully, I still don't like, I'm not crazy about this area. I feel like this is very, I don't like that. It's just not clean. I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. Oh shoot, I just went through that whole spiel with no sound. I had to turn it off to cough, and I gotta turn it off in a minute to cough again. Gosh. Sorry guys. Okay, so I get the thing with the curves. Um, the curves inside of ZBrush work in a very different way compared to Maya. Maya has those Bezier curves and hey Brendan, how you doing, dude? Um, but yeah, it's really kind of a tricky thing. I do like having the NURBS curves functionality inside of Maya. It's really great because it's something that you can go through, you can hide them, you can come back to them, you can use them for multiple different types of things. You don't have to worry about losing them. You can turn them into XGen hair, you can turn it into different loft pieces, different revolves or extrudes. Um, you can do all sorts of things with them, and they're easier to edit. They're easier to control. Whereas with the curves inside of ZBrush, it's more like pulling a piece of string around, right? It's not very easy to control or to shape. Um, let's see about getting that nostril built in there. Um, so I totally get the frustration with curves inside of ZBrush. I don't see it changing. I don't see there being like a need to change it. Um, I don't know. There could be that possibility at some point soon. Okay, let me see. Yeah, nostril. That's what we want. So we want that nostril to be up in here. And I'm trying to decide. It's like I don't really want there to be a 5-pointed star right along that edge, right along any of these edges here. So I'm trying to decide if I want to. I don't know. We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll say inset. Oh, we'll say inset standard because I don't like the new functions. We'll inset that. Not stitch, I want slide. Let's kind of slide that out just a little bit, slide that out just a little bit, give it more shape. One of the things I'm going to want to do is get this to be, come on you, get this to be almost more of like a bullet sort of shape. Just kind of round out the back there. More like an ear of corn, I guess, or like a Coke bottle or something like that. Off to be creative. Reminds me of the lizard from the Rescuers. Yeah, that's definitely like one of my favorite lizard designs in cinema. It's so cool. Um, so yeah, kind of a little bit of an homage to that because I love Joanna was her name, right? Super cool. I really love that lizard and her design. It's so unique. Okay, so now I gotta try to decide. Kind of where I'm gonna take this. Yeah, Joanna, I think that's right. Kind of remember the bad guy yelling that name. Joanna! Let's see, is that really making the... maybe what I need to do. Let's look something up real quick, just for kicks and giggles, right? Lizard nostril. Yeah, really pretty simple. Looks like some sort of monitor lizard. Yeah, yellow spotted monitor lizard. Some sort of bearded dragon or something. Yeah, I mean, it looks really pretty simple. There's not really a whole lot of like form change or anything like that going on inside. So maybe it's just a matter of, you know, keeping it pretty simple. But I do want that shape to be something unique. I want it to be something. Right now it's too even. So I'm gonna try to like kind of pull that around some. Maybe let's try to really pull that top corner down some and get more of like a. Oh shoot, what did I do? It looks like it's just a missing edge. Let's just kind of use the little move jiggle right there and get that working. Now we got to go through and smooth this out so that this is evened out a little bit better. Get it a little bit better. That's a little bit nicer. Maybe let's boost our intensity just a little bit more. Alrighty, guys. We have gotten a ton done today. I'm going to let's put in one more. Control Shift X a couple of times. Control W, just make sure that that's its own thing there. Oh, here, let's turn on our local symmetry because that's kind of a pain. Let's try to make that eye bag. Just do our smooth relax. The eye bag's going to be important because it's going to allow us to have a little bit more form to the eyelid and make it so that the eyelid fits the form, the shape of the eye, and allow us to get a little bit of like subsurface scattering later when we're rendering it out. I'm going to try to fix that eye corner there. Right now, the eyelid itself is really thick. I'm not going to worry too much about it. I kind of do want it to be I want it to be thick. Let's go ahead and add in some edge loops down here so that we have the edge loops for the eyelids itself. Just add in another edge loop here. Control W, make sure that that's its own thing there so that we got the inside of the eyelids. We'll just make sure this is all messed out so we don't have to worry about modifying that on accident. This one up a little bit. Yeah. Sorry if I'm not as high energy as I usually am, guys. I still trying to get over COVID and it's just miserable. Um, but you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's use our ZModeler. Actually, let's use our move brush radius, because this trick, I still just absolutely love it. That way it gets a little bit more form around the lower eyelid. I might want to add more form to it. And maybe that's something we'll wait to do until we have more resolution and have that as part of our high res detail. Because I definitely don't want to have to worry too much in dealing with whatchamadiggits, with the with too much topology. I don't want to be dealing with too much topology. But yeah, we've got topology there for eyelids. We've got the whole body in there. I'm doing pretty dandy, guys. Pull that out some so that it's not leaving the bottom of these back pieces floating. So exciting to see this start to turn out though. Yeah, let's get that forked tongue in there. Hey Chase. Yeah, well, I started late this morning, so it's not a huge deal. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say collapse. Smooth that out, and then from here, this is where we're going to go ahead and start to bridge things out, break it out, break it out, break it out. Extrude, polygroup island. What I'm going to do, and actually I can't remember for sure which side's going to get the mirror preference. So let's do it now. Open up deformation, open up geometry. We'll say mirror and weld. Yeah, so we got to do it the other direction. Mirror and weld. You can see like the tongue was asymmetrical too, so that fixed that. Let's check real quick just to make sure that our model looks good. It looks like we got some pieces down here we got to fix. Mirror and weld. Everything else looks like it should be good. Cool. Okay. And let's go ahead and kind of extrude. Okay, that should be the rest of the tongue. Great. I'll see about making the inside of the mouth its own polygroup as well. I might not do it all right now, but I'll do it at some point. I'll do it right now. because I'm doing it anyway. Okay, inside of the mouth is its own polygroup. That's great. Got that loop around the mouth. Looks great. Okay, let's worry about the rest of this tongue now. Because like this is literally probably the last thing that we will try to do. Okay, turn on symmetry, make sure that's on. Make sure that my stuff is not too not dynamically smooth, right? Let's kind of fix some of this stuff going in here. Going to kind of pull these out so that we have a little bit better of an angle for the parts of the forked tongue. Oh my hell. What is wrong with these people? You remember the Candy Mountain sculpture stuff? That's funny. Yeah, I haven't worked on that for a long time. That is one that I would like to finish out, but yeah, whenever I see those things come through, I try to block them, but it's like, it feels like it just doesn't even matter. They somehow find their way back on. It's like how do they unblock themselves? I blocked them. They are blocked. There's supposed to be like a little little cheat, if you will. I can't remember what it is though. Ara, who's another one of the streamers, he was talking about how he's able to kind of program in before the stream starts. You know, the different things that he wants to have listed as like taboo, if you will. It's just so much work before a stream. Let's do something kind of like that. There we go. So now we got the tongue kind of sectioned out, and we can play with it that way. And there is our model. So now my next steps, I mean, there could be some there could be some form changing and some fixes that I'll put in some time to make, but the main things that I'll be doing next is and you know, I'll definitely be doing some like high resolution sculpting or higher resolution sculpting, making sure that my stylization holds at the higher levels. But I'll be taking this guy over into Maya to create some what's it called? Create UVs. And in fact, while we're here, this feels like it's got a little bit messed up. Let's kind of fix that a little bit. Okay, that's looking better. Yeah, it's just a matter of checking and making sure that everything's working the way it's that it ought to be and that it's intended to be. Let's kind of bring that down a little bit. Cool. Save it just to not lose it. Okay. So yeah, next thing is to be able to go through and do UVs, and I will do UVs this week in Maya, and then that way next week we should be able to go ahead with just doing the pretty stuff. One thing I am trying to decide is on kind of like a color. I do want to have like kind of like a, I like this gray color, but I feel like that's a little bit too boring. It might be a matter of trying to figure out different color tones to it, or different whatever like that. Oh, that's a good point. I haven't added the details under his jaw. You're right. That's a good eye. Let's go ahead and grab one of these. Oops. Let's go ahead and bend this out so that's a little bit more straight. And then, okay, it looks like there isn't any symmetry on here, so we'll just go ahead and Control W. Oh, another 5 degrees there. There we go. Okay, rotate that up. We'll have to see kind of how we feel about this. You know what, let's use something like that. Try to expand these a little bit, I think. Yeah, the thing with the gray is like I really like purple and pink. That's funny. Um, yeah. Something I'm trying to be careful of is I don't want these to be too evenly spaced. Right now there's too much of an evenness to to these rhythms, and so I'm trying to break it up some in a way that feels natural and feels good, feels appealing. Let's maybe pull this down, pull this up. I feel like it's like coming out too far. Kind of a tricky. I feel like it's almost creating like too much. But yeah, anyways, with the color, with the gray, if I wanted to do the gray, I want to find a way to make it so that it feels like it's not going to be like all uniform color like that. There's going to be some sort of fluctuation. And it could be interesting if it were to start off. Let me try this. Let me try something here. Let's go ahead. We'll say mRGB color fill object, and then down here, what we'll do. Let's go ahead and say color fill object, and then what we'll do is we'll say, hit C to be able to select that color. We'll grab our standard brush, just for the sake of being able to kind of experiment with this. Let's go into color spray. We'll grab our color intensity variance, bring that down as low as it'll go without being 0, which is like that 0.05. Let's go into the alpha, turn that on to that, and now we can go ahead and we can start to get, turn off Z add. Now we can start to get a little bit more of like a variation in there. So it's not going to be just one solid color. It's going to start to have like a little bit more of a speckle to it, a little bit of a color variation. It's not going to be like one solid color. You can see it gets a little bit of a super subtle, like pinks and greens and purples, yellows, that sort of thing going in there, which that can be really cool. So we can play with some of this, maybe bring some of this black back down, down through the back into the tail, maybe onto the knees. That could be kind of fun. Maybe add it onto the shoulders some, just to add some variety, and we'll kind of like tone it out, tone it back, things like that at some point as well. Maybe we'll add some up here to the top of the head. I'm trying to be like kind of soft with it in some spots because I feel like it deserves to be kind of softer. I don't want it to be too heavy-handed. It's just a matter of kind of exploring something a little bit, right? We don't want to pull too much into this. And then over here, what we'll do, let's go ahead and grab this color, this dark red here, and we'll start to kind of pull it into the area around the eye. I think I'm getting like too much color or too much texture information with that. So maybe let's try with just just that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Let's turn down my RGB intensity so we can kind of ease it out a little bit so it's not so strong. It's like little things like that kind of starts to help add some variation. It starts to add some interest. And it's kind of use this to kind of darken in spaces around the elbows. I think that's kind of cool. I need this. Something in there kind of like that. Now part of what I'm going to want to explore at some point is getting kind of like that scaly texture going in there. I don't want it to feel too naturalistic. I want it to feel stylized and very controlled. And ooh, that tongue. I've got an idea for that tongue. Even if it's not like all the idea for that tongue, you know, kind of get it to be like off to a dark gray, kind of like that, and then we'll get it to be like a little bit more pink. Let's kind of soften that out a little bit so we can get some more color in there. So that way it's got some like a pop of color, and we'll find other ways to be able to add in some color too. I think that keeping them gray is not going to be quite the right move. And maybe it's a matter of like finding ways to be able to finding ways to add in accents or finding ways to add in patterns. There's a lot that we can kind of go through and add and play with. I think I'm liking those darker scales though. Here, let's go through and we'll color out these, color out the nails. And I think that like if we were to get like a two-tone nail, I think that could be really cool. Where it's like we get like let's play with something real quick. Let's see. Just kind of like brush a little bit something on there. And then it gives it a little bit more depth. It gives it a little bit more kind of believability because it's got something more to it than just one solid color. I don't know. There's a lot to play around with. Let's see. Let's go ahead and grab that. Teeth placement's going to need to be played around with quite a bit. Let's go ahead and pull this up and in, pull this up and in. MRGB, we'll say, yeah, color. fill it with that for now. We'll probably do something with kind of like a gradient there as well. Blue could be interesting to introduce. We'll check that out. Maybe like getting like a blue tongue in there. That could be cool too. I'll have to see what we... get out of it. Yeah, I need to work on adding in the teeth on the top as well, which is really just going to be a matter of taking these, Control Shift D, and then turn on the Y direction for the mirror. Some of these teeth are kind of going in the wrong direction, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. Here, let's see if we can get that kind of... Turn off local symmetry. It's gonna keep creating problems for me. Mirror and weld. This should fix it. Yeah, that fixes it. Just kind of bring that in, bring it up. And then these little guys up here, kind of rotate that around a little bit. I'm gonna break symmetry. Just kind of break it and just start going off in this sort of direction. Start to create a little bit more like angles and things like that with these teeth so that they don't feel so parallel. Oh, come on, break symmetry. Break symmetry. It's starting to look cool. It's just a matter of taking things, adding some more tweaks. Probably need to add some more teeth too. Let's see, let's come in here. Let's go ahead and pull that brush alpha back in. I want to grab a little bit lighter. Maybe let's push it a little bit more yellow too. And I'm going to... Oh shoot, I didn't want that to mush onto the tongue. grab the tongue. Mask it out so that it's out of danger. This almost gives it kind of like a leopard seal sort of coloration. I'm not sure that I super dig it, but we'll play with it for a minute and kind of see what we think. I'm liking that. I'm liking that it's giving me variety and it's giving me some interest. Giving it kind of a lighter underbelly could be cool. And then have that kind of leak out onto the arms, but like on the underside, right? Kind of similar to how we get with some fish and with some lizards. I might get the bottom of the feet too at some point, but not quite right now. So all this is that I'm doing right now is just Polypaint to be able to try to figure out like rough colors. This isn't something that's meant to be final colors, and I'll probably end up changing things or exploring different ideas some other point. And let's kind of get this to go out onto the tail some. Once we do the UVs, we'll be able to use whatever we paint on here as a texture, which is awesome. It's insanely helpful. This is actually how I do most of my texturing, so it's a lot of fun. Yeah, let's. We can have like a little bit of like a fade in color so that it's either it starts off dark and goes light, or it starts light and goes dark. Can you export the UV map from ZBrush? Yeah, you can export texture maps from ZBrush. I don't do my UVs inside of ZBrush because the tools for UVs inside of ZBrush are not production standard tools. It's more just tools that are pretty acceptable and ready for what's it called for. You can use them pretty nicely for toys, for fabrication, that sort of thing. You can't really use it for for production UVs. A few exceptions, like on How to Train Your Dragon, we used UV Master and ZRemesher for things like rocks, which is really simple and really easy. But really like it's not like a production ready tool. I have used it in the instance of being able to take something and get just to be like, if it's something that's really dense with topology, it can be really helpful to get some UVs on there before trying to take it in and make a nice unfold inside of inside of Maya. So in that case, just getting just getting something out becomes really helpful. But it's not production ready stuff. It's something to be able to block it in, to be able to yeah, to be able to get it started. Let's turn the symmetry back on, see if we can get some. I'm liking that. A lot of what's happening with this, yeah, let's do something else too. I do want that eye to be nicely framed in by like some dark eyeliner, and it's going to need some eyelash to be able to get that to work totally correctly. But let's go ahead and grab this RGB. Do I use Substance Painter? I haven't for a long time. Mostly because I haven't had much of a need to. The idea is to get back into Substance a little bit more because it's such a... Oops. It's such a neat tool. I just haven't had access to it or a need for it for a little while, so it's one of those things that I just need to get back into. Oh man. Thanks, Brendan. That happens too much. I was like, I gotta keep turning it off in order to cough. I don't want to be coughing in your guys' ears. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's add in the eyelash piece so that it's Control Shift D, and then let's down res, delete higher. Delete hidden. Sir. It's so funny you calling me sir. Okay, let me see. Let's try using dynamics to get us to the thickness that we want for these. Ooh, too much. For these eyelashes. Yeah, let's lower that thickness before we right. Okay, decent start. Does it apply? Now if we turn this on, we gotta turn off our thickness. We'll turn on our smoothness. Alright, now let's play with this. You know what? I don't think I want to smooth out the tail end, at least not yet. Control W, Control W. In fact, here's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and say split, so that way I'm only having to deal with one eyelash at a time, right? Could be nice. Let's go ahead and kind of boost this up just a smidge. ZModeler, let's go ahead and say move brush radius, and we'll just kind of, oh wow, edge loop partial. Grab this and kind of pull it down. Let's grab this move edge loop tool, pull it back and in some so that we're intersecting nicely with the surface. Hey, thanks for coming, Christoph. It's it's nice having good people around. This is getting too thick. Yeah. Have a nice weekend. Hope you get to enjoy it doing something nice. Eat good food. Do some good relax. Is there a free version of this software? Yes, ZBrush Core Mini. For anybody wanting to get in and get their feet wet with ZBrush, ZBrush Core Mini. This is the free version of ZBrush. It doesn't have all the features, but it's a way for you to be able to get in and see, allow all, to be able to learn about navigation, to be able to test out the different tools, figure out sculpting. So I'll go ahead and I'll drop this in the chat. It's really just a way for you to be able to kind of figure out and learn some learn some digital sculpting-ness. Oh, Ian Robinson did a shark. I don't know who did the cool monster guy here. Oh, it's Joseph Drust. Joseph did a lot of stuff. Funny. Okay, cool. But yeah, that's a that's a resource for you. The other versions of the software are not free, but they're definitely much more useful. The free versions of the software definitely have like their kickbacks where it's not quite as flexible. There's a lot that it can't do. But then again, it's free. It's, you know, it's something for you to be able to get your feet wet. It's not something for you to be able to create something that's production ready. It is something that will allow you to create, you know, however much time you spend on it will give you the opportunity to then create a, you know, like 3D printable things, if I remember right. You also have the opportunity to, you know, render images out, or to, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty nifty little free tool. It's definitely not something that's useful to me because I have, you know, full production ready characters that I need to be able to get out. But how do you know the detail you're doing on a model can 3D print? I use my vehicles. I 3D print 1mm down 2.5mm for the detail. Can you do this in ZBrush? It's more difficult to measure things. It has to do with this tool right here. It's this transpose line. You can see it has like all these different little tick marks on here. Hold on, give me a second. The easiest thing to do is to, let me see if we can, just kind of like the closed head. I'm going to go ahead and make this, we'll say cube. I am going to change back to my gizmo, go back to that home position. I'm going to need to reposition my character so that it's sitting on this ground plane, but for right now I'm fine. Let's go ahead. I'm going to grab my IMM piece here. Let's grab the cube simple. Oh, I see what's creating the issue. The top was masked out. Okay, so eyelashes, top, eyelashes, bottom. Oh, delete. Oh, hey, look at that. I've got other eyelashes in here already. I'll have to take a look at them in a minute. This right here is what I was trying to change. Cube. Okay. So now what I can do is I can grab this and I can grow it so that it is... So a lot of the fading with Polypaint is going to have to do with with your RGB intensity. And then also just kind of a light hand. Yeah, I think what I want to do is I want to make sure that this box is tall enough to go beyond the bottom of the feet and beyond the top of the head, but not so much that it's like ridiculous. I want to make sure that it's close enough that I can kind of pick more or less the height of my character. Hold on, give me a second. Dang it. Sorry. I just need to like get better so I'm not coughing and wear my hat. Cuz hat makes me feel better, right? Give myself just a little bit more light. Yeah, so sorry. That was like a lot and it's now very not documented. So with the cube, at the transpose line, you literally just kind of like click and you drag up to the top of the cube. And so now this cube, I want this to be 2 meters. So the process that I went through was I went to preferences, I went down to my transpose units, and I went to go to the calibration distance and put that to 2. I can change, set units from units to meters. So 200 centimeters tall. He's going to be slightly shorter than that. He's probably going to be closer to like 180 something or other. Not sorry, 180 or something, 190 something or other. We'll have to test it. We'll have to look at it in a minute. But this will at least give me a way to be able to calibrate my my measurement tool based on my scene. And so now that I have this and I've set the minor ticks down to 2 so that I have like a dividing line in here, you can see this is now 2 meters. Okay, because we changed the name of the units from unit to meters. Okay. Sorry. Remember to turn it back on that time. Yeah, so we've got that now. So now what we can do, let's go ahead, we'll turn off. All right, let's go ahead and we'll name this 2 meter cube. Let's rename this body. So if I were to come over here, let's just isolate it. Okay, I'm just going to click at the bottom and hold shift and drag up till I get to about the top of the head right there. and you can see it's 1.917 meters. So, you know, he's 191 centimeters, sorry, 1.91 meters tall. So 191.7 centimeters. Okay, so super, super nice. Doing this with the unit also changed the brush size? No. The brush size is completely independent. It's not related at all to the, you can see, like, here's my brush. It's still doing the same thing that it needs to be doing. It's a good question, though. Let's kind of get rid of some of this in here. It's a little bit too much dark coming out. If I get to a point where it's like I kind of like what I've got, but I want to change it, so maybe it's a different color, I can always change this. I can just duplicate this out, let's hide that cube, Control T to bring back all the colors, or all the pieces. I'm gonna come down here, say Polypaint, and we will say adjust colors. So you see we can come in here and we can very easily just kind of like shift through things. You can see it's only affecting what has actual hue to it, or at least, you know, that's what it's like. I hate it when my Apple devices think I'm talking to them when I'm not. Anyway, so I'm going to come in over here and get, you know what, let's do this instead. Let's mask this out. And then we'll blur the mask a little bit so that there's a nice kind of fade between whatever we're editing. We'll invert that mask so that we're working on everything else, and then we can go ahead and we can start to like tint things. Tint's not going to work. You can push some saturation. Trying to get this to work in some degree. Get some more blues and blotch. It's really blotchy though, so it's like maybe that's not the best option. I mean, you can go through and you can use that to be able to mask things out. Hey Luigi, how you doing? But yeah, it feels like the best option is either to go ahead and wait until this is a texture map that you can then edit hue, saturation stuff inside of Photoshop, or to just straight up repaint. For some reason I was thinking there was more of like a colorize option. So yeah, painting in gray is kind of a tricky. Qu'est-ce que tu fais? What?
Glue stick.
No, not a glue stick, no. Not right now. Okay, with this, let's go ahead and let's fade this out. We're just going to give it a little bit of a just it helps to give us a little bit more of what's it called, like a like eye bags. I'm trying not to add it in evenly everywhere. Kind of fade it out over here or something. Just because that'll help it to feel more, more natural, more designed, more controlled, more appealing. Just kind of soften it out in the corner, soften it out down here a little bit. Make this creature feel a little bit more ancient. I'm gonna try something. Give myself a little bit of a form change here. Give myself a little bit more of a flare here. Yeah, like polygroups are so insanely helpful. Okay, feels much more like a creature now. I'm definitely feeling much, much better than I have been. Definitely not back to 100% by any stretch of the imagination. But yeah, definitely doing a little bit better. Yeah, don't be taking the hot glue gun without permission. Love you. Do you think that manual retopology is essential for animation or sculpts, or automatic retopology can be more convenient in terms of time? It depends on the situation. It depends on the application. And this is a question I answer a lot. So retopology, manual retopology, is absolutely critical for animation applications. I mean, like for me myself, I like having nice, clean, production ready topology. I work in animation, and that's that's part of the job. So the more that I practice that, the more I can have something worth showing if I ever needed to have a portfolio. Now, if I'm doing something that's toys, I don't necessarily have to worry about clean topology. I just have to worry about a clean mesh. So something like a toy, something that's 3D printed, I don't necessarily have to make sure that it's got nice, clean, production ready edge flow, because it's just not necessary. I just have to make sure that my forms are there. I have to make sure that my mesh is watertight. Kids with electric tools, nothing bad can happen with that. Yeah. No, she's usually pretty good. It's just that the glue gets everywhere. Um, Give me a second. Um, I lost it. Um, oh, but if it's something that's needing to be put into digital production for games or for animation or for visual effects or film or whatever it is, if it needs to be able to move, it needs to have the nice clean topology to be able to be rigged and animated in a clean way. So that's where the nice clean topology comes from. why we have it, why we make it, why we worry about it. So yeah, that's that. I'm going to call this. In fact, before we call it, let's go ahead and check on those other eyelashes because I don't remember what they look like. I like the other ones better. We'll get rid of this one. Eyelashes top and bottom. Although the bottom does still feel like it's a little bit thick and it's not quite making the shape that I want. That's a little bit better. Pull that in, pull this in. Okay. So yeah, now he's ready to be put up as an update on ArtStation. We'll finish this guy someday. We'll finish him someday. So yeah, like I said, next week the idea is to have UVs done. And then I also want to have to have the UVs done, and then to have like what's it called? Like some sort of scale pattern designed so that I can try some things out and figure out how it looks on model. No, I probably won't be sharing this model. I mean, there's a possibility, like, if you want to be able to rig it, then I could probably pass it along. There's some spots that are going to be a little bit problematic for a rig. Places that I just had a little bit of trouble resolving the topology, but it's, it works. Let's go ahead and grab these and just make sure that different parts are different polygroups here. Yeah. So far, so good. We're gonna call it so far, so good right now. So far, so good. But yeah, anyway. Hope you guys had fun. I sure had fun. I'm glad I was able to get some time to work on this guy. Yeah. I mean, for anybody who wants to be able to find me, I'll probably post post something about him a little bit later on Instagram. If you're interested in finding me, I'm putting my Instagram before you go. How how do you smooth large areas to get rid of uneven surfaces? There are a couple of different ways, and it's going to be. I mean, you can mask out different areas that you kind of want to, like this right here. I mean, this is kind of messy or whatever. But say for instance, maybe I have kind of some messed up topology in there, and we kind of want to like even this out. We could go through and we can smooth it out like that, but say it's maybe more spread out than that, or whatever. We can come in here, just control with our mask, and we could say like you could say polish by groups, which could then help to kind of retain some of your borders, especially if you have borders that are kind of indicating surface changes, or you can polish by features. Polish by features is one that I use when I don't have as much of like a control based on polygroups. Otherwise, I like to just make a nice big smooth brush and then hold shift and then let it go as I start smoothing, so that I get like a good relaxed polish in there. This shape right here is getting lost. Yeah, that's probably like my main go-to tool, though, is that smooth, being able to polish it out that way. Kind of invert that, and then we can pull it up. Hold on. Invert it and pull it up. There we go. Yeah, I mean it's stuff you probably already knew, but those are a couple of my go-tos. Because it's yeah, sometimes it's just a matter of, and I did that a lot with these pieces up here too, when I was going through and trying to get the topology to even out a little bit more. I would use like the polish by groups, and that would help to maintain some of the planes. Yeah, no, I'm not going to try sculpting in Blender. I get too many questions about Blender. This isn't a Blender channel. I'm not a Blender artist. I don't like Blender. I've tried it. I've tried using Blender. The thing that I do like about Blender is the rendering. Otherwise, it's not useful to me. Yeah, that's my take on Blender. Yeah, I don't like it. um, right here, I feel like I'm getting too much smooth. There we go. Something like that. Okay, now we're calling it done. Now we're calling it done. One thing I could do real quick, if I wanted to be able to just add some sort of level of sculpted-ish detail. In fact, maybe I could do lightbox noisemakers. I could come over here and I could say, maybe not that one. There are a couple of these that are kind of cool as like an almost scale-like sort of material. I might just default to the ones that I usually use though. Not that one. Because this is the one that I usually use for different things here. But, hold on. That one's kind of interesting. It's a little bit too aggressive though, so maybe what I'll do is I'll keep with this. Let's come in here, we'll edit it so that we have, it's kind of an interesting look. Let's turn off the color blend. Let's turn the strength to something negative. And then we'll make the plugin scale much smaller. Say okay. So now we have, you know, some sort of skin detail on there. It's a simple little thing. Other things that we can do is that we can come over here and we can say, let's zoom in closer so we can see what it is that we're going to be doing. Right now we can change these different blend modes to, like, you know, minimum or difference or maximum, multiply, mix. I'm going to say leave it on that, I guess. Let's go ahead and say strength by mask. No, nothing there. There's this mixed basic noise, so you can get like more or less of the noise. This the thing that we're changing, so like we have this this mixed basic noise. If we turn on to the multiply or the mix or the difference, it's going to change how these things interact. I think that leaving it as the max is going to work best for us though in this case. The other thing that we can do is we can go ahead and we can change kind of the way that things are mixing together. That's kind of cool. We'll say okay. So then we get like this cool, just like slight detailed sort of look. I actually really quite like that. So something like this is kind of is going to be kind of the idea of what I was thinking to push for. So it might be a good, you know, just for reference sake, I guess. But yeah, I'll have to play with it some more. Okay, now we're leaving it. Let's go ahead and turn on our perspective view so that we can get a little bit nicer of a final image there, and voila, et voila. There's some other things that I want to do is, like, you know, strengthening some forms in the feet. They got a little bit doughy, a little bit soft. So I would definitely want to increase the sense of anatomy in the feet, and kind of increase the sense of tendons and knuckles and things like that. But yeah, let's go ahead and save it before we lose it. And now we'll call it good. We're gonna call it good. We're gonna leave it. Anyway, thanks for coming and hanging out, guys. I super appreciate having people around. Um, yeah, like I said, I'll post something about this later on my Instagram. I'll be posting on the ArtStation challenge to be able to kind of keep that updated. Trying to think what else I want to say before I duck out. Um, I'm still working on, or I still intend to be able to do a design challenge for Smartest 34 this year. So keep an eye out for that, where you can compete, where you can participate, and for the chance to win. Hold on. Drop the box. Where you can compete to win a Space Mouse or CAD Mouse Pro. Both of these are awesome. I haven't gotten the hang of this in ZBrush yet, but in Maya, it's brilliant. I love it. The CAD mouse is wonderful. I've really super enjoyed. It's just got a nice feel to it, and it can be wireless. It can be wired in. It can pair via Bluetooth. All sorts of different things. So this is a super handy mouse. In fact, I can control my work computer from here using this. It's kind of funny. Anyway, so these are the prizes for Smartest 34 this year, which will be a design challenge. So keep an eye out on my Instagram for details on that. Yeah, I mean, I would ship to whoever participates. It'll be worldwide, so yeah, feel free to participate and join however you will, wherever you're at. Even you, Jace. Gotta keep it light. So yeah, I will be putting details up on Instagram hopefully soon. COVID has kind of shook things for me, and things have been busy. So the idea is for this this happens every year around my birthday, having that design challenge, and so yeah, hopefully you guys will participate and be around. Again, anybody who wants to be able to find information on that, keep an eye out on my Instagram. Links in the chat. And gosh, yeah, we'll be around. I'll see you guys next Saturday. And stay safe. Don't get COVID because it's miserable. And yep, wait for the Instagram post. Yeah, it'll be on Instagram hopefully in the next few days. Things have been kind of kind of things have been kind of crazy for me the last couple of weeks. So yeah, gosh, yeah, that's where we're at. Hope you guys are great. Hope you guys are doing well. I'll see you next time I see you. And keep ZBrushing. Smartest out.